General Zod. I have journeyed across an ocean of stars to reach you. Your world has sheltered one of my citizens. He will look like you, but he is not one of you. To those of you who know of his location, the fate of your planet rests in your hands.
With Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy wrapping up, there's a void in Warner Brothers' slate of movies. But here comes Zack Snyder in Man of Steel, which is the first step DC is taking in pulling a Marvel and assembling their own team of superheroes in Justice League somewhere down the line. And who better to take these first steps with than arguably the most recognizable superhero on the face of this planet? But, based on his past experiences on the silver screen, the last son of Krypton hasn't exactly had an impressive outing since the days of Christopher Reeves. So, Tom, how do you think Man of Steel stacks up against the other Superman movies?
It's been a long time since I've seen the Christopher Reeve ones, but I honestly think it is probably the best Superman film we've had, at least on the level of 1 and 2. Very different, of course, the dark and gritty of today's Hollywood. But I think it's the best Superman movie we could ever get because of the character just being not as relatable as some other superheroes. So I think it was a good Superman movie, and it holds up.
I'll say it was better than Returns because it, instead of just being an homage to the Richard Donner, Christopher Reeve films, it actually re-updated Superman for this era, this generation. However, I'm still a little bit frosty about it and still would say Superman 1 is the best film.
Yeah, I don't think it's anywhere near the best Superman film, or really anywhere. It's in the middle of the pack at best.
And so what makes you say that, Ryan? The cast was pretty impressive.
The cast was incredible.
Yeah.
So
They were all really, really good.
Amy Adams, particularly as Lois Lane, I feel one of the strongest. I think she was a really strong female role. She was very smart, very witty, and one of the best female roles in superhero films that we've had in a long time, I think.
I think all the actors.
Everyone was really good. Everyone was really strong.
It wasn't the actors, it was the characters that was the problem. Michael Shannon was just completely wasted as the villain. The whole second half of the movie, I think every line of dialogue he had was basically along the lines of, only one of us is going to make it out of this, or I'm going to come and kill you. And I was just like, okay, Shannon.
I remember you telling me that before I saw the film, and I got a little bit of that, but I think Zod's motivations were better than the average villains. He was basically, bred to save Krypton, any way possible. So, he had real weight behind his actions. For me, the characters suffer, but I think it's the plot and the pacing. The pacing is just so off. We spend a good 30 minutes on Krypton in the beginning, and you don't see Henry Cavill until 30 minutes into the film, and he is, the best part of the film. Russell Crowe just couldn't carry that beginning. And then we have a long period of kind of flashbacks showing, his upbringing, which were good. Kevin Costner does real good with being Jonathan Kent, and they really needed them to make him relatable. But then the action sequence at the end does drag on a lot. Yeah. The final fight between Zod and Superman is great, but there's a lot of kind of fight this level. It's almost like a video game. You fight this level, then you get to the boss, and you have to fight a giant robot. The pacing for me was just the problem with the film. Some of its more intense moments weren't when he was flying around fighting. It was when some of the flashbacks when he was a kid, saving other kids' lives and stuff like that.
Yeah, I agree. The family drama was, I think, the best element of the story. Especially the whole the video game comparison is just completely appropriate because. I don't know, it just felt like every time they destroyed part of Metropolis, it was like, well, the fight's the fight's not over. There's 5 more buildings left we can destroy. Let's do it.
Yeah. I don't think they set up the world well enough either. They don't even say Metropolis once. You just see when it's incoming, missile on, you see on the CIA boards Metropolis. they never kind of set up this world. They don't set up Smallville either. Really, there's a big battle in Smallville, but he's just on Earth, and then like it jumps from him being shipped to Earth to him being an adult, and then just doing some flashbacks. So I don't think the world is particularly set up very well.
So here's a question: Christopher Nolan was involved with this movie as well as Zack Snyder. How much comparison is there to Nolan's Batman?
Well, the way it's Nolan's Batman is that it's not as bright and colorful as Zack Snyder's works. It has a much more grounded, realistic tone. And there's also the way it structures things, how we go in the present with Superman, and then we go to these flashbacks, like intercutting in between the main story going on. And then just the little setup tools. It was at times feeling a lot like Batman Begins. The whole way that they handle the characterization of Zod is a very Nolan-esque move. He's not like a full-on hateable villain. He's got these reasons why he does these things. And while the plot is I found the plot solid, there's not much there for characters. There's not much there for the actors to really do. And there's something about that just is cold. I mean, with Superman, you want to be kind of warm. It's like it's the ideal to strive towards, the global hero. And I just wasn't feeling it as strongly as I did at all in any of the Nolan's Batman trilogy.
I think one thing that I found very enjoyable with the kind of setup of the character of Superman in this film as compared to other films is that he doesn't feel all-powerful. At first, we start off without him actually not being able to fly. Like he does the leap in amazing leap in a single bound or whatever it is. And I feel like it was great because you were kind of learning along with him, where he was coming from and how much he could do. And I think that was very well done. So I think his setup as his transformation into Superman was very well done and better than I think in previous movies.
Okay, so on the infamous Pretentious Film Majors 5-star scale, what do you give Man of Steel? Let's start with you, Ryan.
2.5.
I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Rounding it to 3.5.
Okay, well, for more from us, be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or go to our official website, pretentiousfilmmajors.com.
Film Majors, which was your favorite Superman film? Comment below, and our favorite comment will get a free Redbox DVD rental code.